Hello! So I'm posting day 5, and day 5 was rough. Um, yeah, it was rough. I didn't really do much before work. I just kind of streamed and wrote in my journal, and basically all I did. I didn't even do my normal morning routine. Actually, I haven't had my smoothie since probably Sunday. So it's been like 2 days. And work, yeah, work was rough. I actually saw my ex. Saw him at the corner of my eye, and I completely, totally ignored him. Pretended he didn't even exist. I didn't even acknowledge the fact that he walked past either window to the office where I was at. And luckily, my supervisor and the HR manager was standing and talking at the window, having their own conversation at one of the windows as he's walking out to leave. And he waved and said bye, So that was pretty cool. And thankfully, since I work security, I know when he's there, if he leaves before I get to work. And I only have to worry about that like 2 days a week, so it's no big deal. But it's still hard because like the rest of the night, I felt the loneliness inside of me. And I downloaded a book from Kindle because I pay for Kindle Unlimited about self-love. So I'm still working on me. And that's my goal, is working on me. I did get to the point that I downloaded Bumble dating app. I'm not so sure. Like, I think about it and like I swipe. Okay, so so I tried dating apps years ago, and it was an effing nightmare. I mean, it was like, booty calls and just really, it's really no way to meet somebody. Like, it might work for some people, but I like to meet people in person and not through the internet. It just seems so fake, and I get a better feel for the person when I meet them face to face as opposed to the internet. But the reason that I downloaded the app was because I just felt that sense that I wanted to talk to somebody, because I don't have like that many people that I'm close to. I mean, I have like 2 coworkers that I talk to, but it's really hard for me to trust people. So it's hard for me to talk and actually believe that what I tell them stays with them. So I don't know. I feel kind of lonely. But I know it's just because I'm still grieving, and it's because I focus so much attention on my ex and talking to him, or texting him and trying to get him to text me back, because the reality is I wasn't getting what I needed out of the relationship, and that's what you got to look at. I mean, to me, there's areas in a relationship, like for me, okay, I want the intimacy in a relationship, and I want the partnership / friendship, because to me that's, you have a friendship, you have a partnership. Those are kind of the same to me. Like, you start out with friends, and then you build upon that friendship, and you become partners, and I want that. And that was missing. But then there's also, I want time, I want your time and your attention. I mean, if you're gonna sit here and tell me that you fucking love me, then you better give me time and attention. And I don't mean being stuck up my ass, because I've had that. Like, I literally went from one extreme to the other. I went from guys being stuck up my ass to the point I wasn't allowed to have a life outside of them. Like, I had to literally sit on my ass. I couldn't talk to anybody. I couldn't do anything else. I had to be at their beck and call. And they would text me constantly, and like, they were basically my life, but because I had no other life. And it was horrible. It was honestly really horrible. And then I get into another relationship with a guy that doesn't really pay me attention, and I'm basically a booty call, because that's basically what our relationship was. It didn't start out that way. It started out pretty decent. I'm not going to say it was great, but that's pretty much all it was. I mean, I actually learned a lot from this past relationship. And to anyone out there who ever watches this, value yourself. Man, woman, value yourself. And if you have any issues from your past, mommy issues, daddy issues, ex-wife, ex-husband, whatever, fucking deal with the shit. Don't put it in a fucking box and lock away the fucking key. If you have a job that is traumatic, that you see traumatic shit, and yeah, I'm getting close to my camera right now, because this is what I've experienced. If you are a law enforcement officer, if you are a doctor, surgeon, ER nurse, firefighter, rescue, if you're former military, if you're anything like that, if you have any kind of job to where you see tragedy, if you have any kind of issues, fucking deal with it. Work through your issues. Don't take it out on your wife, your husband, your significant other. Don't. It is so, that's what's wrong with this world, is people don't work through their issues, their trauma. And then they take it out on the people that they supposedly love. And I personally, I'm not saying I'm perfect. By any means, I'm not perfect. But be mindful. Be mindful of who you are. Go to therapy. Do not have too much pride to go to therapy, because that's not pride. That's called you don't want to invest in yourself. There is nothing wrong with going to therapy. Nothing at all. It is not for weak-minded people. It is for people who want a better life. It is for people who want to take care of themselves and invest in themselves. Who want the help, who want to change and be the best self that they could possibly be. And honestly, I'd rather have therapy over medication anyway. Medication is just a fucking band-aid for shit. That's all it is. It's not a long-term solution. There we go. Huh. So yeah, anyway. So day 5, yeah, it was rough, but you know, I made it through it, and I liked the book. There was one part in the book that I read that the woman was talking about, the author of the book was talking about this guy that she was dating, and the part that I remember that just cracked me up was the fact that she said this guy, because it's talking about a narcissist, and this guy wouldn't know love if Jesus came down and slapped him in the face. You just had to read it, okay? Because I was just like, at that moment in that time, it cracked me up. And I can honestly tell you that this is hard. But this is good. I've been in a better place. I was in a better place before I broke up with him. And And that's actually been really helpful to me because I had already started working on myself and bettering myself and not quite as focused on him or the relationship. I guess a part of me knew where it was headed. I mean, it still hurts. Don't get me wrong. It hurts like you couldn't believe. But and I keep asking myself, like, I miss him, but I'm like, what do I miss? I keep asking myself what I miss because he wasn't even there. I mean, even if he was physically there, he wasn't really mentally there. And in the end, it was all about him. And that's what I keep reminding myself, is it was all about him. And that's pretty much it. And the quote that I got for today was the same as it was the other day. Basically, healing begins with feeling. So that's what I've been doing, honestly, the past couple of days, is just kind of feeling my feelings, so to speak, writing them down, and I just stream movies, different kinds, and I've been doing other stuff too, so not really, just streaming. Maybe the third one is the charm. Maybe the third one is what breaks me. Because the thought right now of meeting a guy, dating a guy, I'm just like, what's the point? What's the point? I'm not saying that I'm giving up, but I'm getting used to being me, just being me, and thinking about going out and doing stuff. I don't know. School starts, so I mean, I've got 2 classes already started, so I got that. I have a third one that'll start soon. So, and that's what I gotta focus on. I have my art, my Etsy store, and then I've got this YouTube channel. I can focus on it. So I mean, I have a lot to focus on, and to better myself, better my career, because I need a career. I'm tired of security. Plus, I really don't want to work in the same plant as my ex-husband and my ex-boyfriend. I would really, really love just to get away from it and just like, bam, disappear from their fucking lives. Because the one thing that always fucking happens to me is the exes always come back because they realize what they fucking lost when they lose it. If you want to be with me, then you better realize what the fuck you have when you have it. Because I am a damn motherfucking awesome woman. And yeah, I curse. And yeah, I'm going to stand up to your stupid ass. Because don't be stupid. I set boundaries. I have learned what setting boundaries is. And that's what I was doing with this last guy. I was actually setting boundaries with him. I didn't set enough boundaries. But man, every time I set a boundary with him, he didn't like that. He did not like that at all. And boy, he really didn't like it when I stopped arguing with him. Oh, when he wanted to throw shit in my face that I said or did, and then I'd give him a little dose back, and then he'd want to keep going back and forth, and I'd stop. I'd be like, oh, honey, remember when you said this to me? And he would just kind of look at me. And then he'd want to throw something back at me, and I'd be like, I'm not going back and forth. We could go back and forth all day long. We could pick apart. I mean, relationships aren't fucking perfect, and you're gonna say stuff sometimes. Me, I try not to say anything that I don't mean. I actually, that's just something like, I want communication and honesty. God, why is it so hard to find honest men? Or honest people? Just honest people, because I'm not even going to blame men. Like, I am not going to sit here and bash men, because I know there's some pretty piss poor bitches out there. And yeah, I say bitches. Because there are some pretty trashy women out there who just want to mistreat men. But you know what? Men, yeah. And honestly, I'm really tired of the narcissistic men. So if you're a narcissist and you want to come and find me, don't. I just don't. No. No, 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 no. And if you want to know, oh, and ladies, my piece of advice for you: do some thorough research on narcissists, on an insecure narcissistic man. Because the one thing, because there's two, they can go two ways. I've had them both ways. So I've had them where they actually talk bad about themselves, and they just really put themselves down, and they expect you to lift them up. But at the same time, everything is focused on them. It's all about them. Like, they don't really take too much of an interest in your life, what you want to do. They don't really ask you about what your goals are. It's about what you can do for them. And that's pretty much narcissists in general, from what I've gathered. But now this last guy, he did a little different. He hid his insecurities and overcompensated himself. Like, he boasted about how wonderful and great he is, and how he could find me wherever I was. Like, he could hunt me down and find me because of his former job and what he used to do. And oh my God, like, he just boasted. Like, he was so fucking stuck on himself. And the one thing he used to do was talk about, I'm alpha. Yeah, I'm alpha. Yeah, go fuck you and your alpha shit. Seriously? I got on my nerves so bad. I was like, I just kind of looked at him, and I knew right then. I was like, nah, this ain't gonna work. Nah. And he was subtle about the ways that he would try to make me feel inferior. And that's what narcissists do. They want to tear you down. And some are obvious about it. They tell you, oh, you're fat, you need to lose weight, you need to grow your hair out, you need to wear makeup. And they'll isolate you from other people too. Like, yeah. But now this last guy, he was subtle. But I got a tattoo of blackbirds on my arm. They're just like little silhouettes of birds. And it's what I wanted. And he made fun of it. He ripped that tattoo apart because he knew that it meant something to me. And then he made me something. He made me a witch's broom, and which was sweet. And I was like, oh my God, that's so sweet. Oh, he really loves me. I'm kind of questioning on whether he made it or if he found somewhere to buy it from, but I still don't really know. I have it because I absolutely love it. But anyway, so he started telling me this bullshit about it. And I'm like, I question it. Like, it was this lie about it. Then, and another thing, he tried to actually tell me when his house was built. Like, and you're probably looking at me like, why does that even matter? No. So he tried to tell me that his house was built in the 90s. And I'm not stupid when it comes to houses. I know his house was not built in the fucking 90s. I actually looked it up, even though I didn't believe him, because I could tell because how it was decorated, because it hasn't been remodeled since like the 70s, because that's when it was built. It was built around late 70s. It, no doubt. Like, how the layout and everything, it screams the late 70s. And excuses. Narcissists are full of excuses. Oh my God. This guy had an excuse for everything. The reason his house was messy and cluttered. I mean, like, everything. And at the beginning of our relationship, and this is something that I shouldn't have tolerated, but it's where I'm too empathetic. He actually flaked out on me a couple times. Because he lost his cell phone. Yeah. Okay. If you really want to be with somebody, you don't fucking lose your cell phone knowing that you have a date. You better find a way. You better fucking find a way to contact them. He had a home phone. I mean, he don't use it. It's just for his alarm system. But still. Yeah. And then the second time, he completely flaked out on me because he fell asleep on a friend's couch. I bought that. I only bought it because he dozed off at the wheel of the vehicle when we were coming back from our little date. Yeah. It's where I'm too understanding and empathetic, and I didn't set enough boundaries for myself. There's more, but it gets a little personal, and I don't really want to put it on YouTube. So, you just have to be really mindful. You have to kind of look. It's like this. If you set boundaries for yourself, if you have clear boundaries of what you're going to tolerate, of what you want and your needs in a relationship, and they're not being met, then you say something or you exit. And any man that doesn't like a strong, independent woman, they're not for you. They're not for you, boo. And I'm learning that. Because at the end of the day, I got me. And I know that I'm not going to be alone because I have me. And there's plenty of people in this world. I can always find people to talk to. Because I can be a social butterfly or I cannot be. I go either way, to be honest. I have my moments. So, I'm going to end this now. But yeah, so day 5. Rough. Very, very rough. But I'm going to make it. Definitely make it.